Maybe you saw the movie. Da Vinci. You probably read the book. Now, imagine the Da Vinci Code in Washington.
Dear God.
That's Dan Brown's new book. And it may give you a new view of American history.
There was a statue that sat in the Capitol. It was George Washington as a god.
Tonight, an exclusive interview with Dan Brown and an extraordinary peek inside the secret ceremonies.
He drinks wine out of a skull.
And the monumental questions.
The world is a stranger place than we thought.
Of a mysterious society, some say, once ruled Washington and the world.
Sometimes it is said we have no secrets. Nothing could be further from the truth.
In search of the secrets of the lost symbol.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Matt Lauer. And tonight we're going to take you on a magical mystery tour of a place you may think you know pretty well already, Washington, D.C. We'll skip most of the monuments, but how about a little black magic with your American history? Mainly, we'll be trying to uncover secrets, but not the kind you would usually associate with Washington. These secrets could unlock mysteries that have puzzled mankind for centuries. And they're at the center of Dan Brown's new book, The Lost Symbol.
Imagine the scene, a mysterious temple. Its entrance guarded by massive stone columns and sphinxes. Inside, strange symbols, ancient inscriptions, and mystical numbers lead to a room shaped like a pyramid, with an eye that points toward the heavens. And in the center of the floor, a massive altar. Some of the most powerful men in the country gather here to enact an ancient secret ritual. Drinking wine meant to represent blood from a human skull. And all of it happening just a mile from the U.S. Capitol. It sounds like a work of fiction, and it does come from one, the opening scene of Dan Brown's best-selling novel, The Lost Symbol. But Brown makes a remarkable claim that the ritual is real, part of the history of the secretive brotherhood called the Freemasons.
And when they found out that Dan Brown was going to be dealing with Freemasonry in this book, what was their reaction?
Well, I think they were nervous that I might focus on what some would call the macabre sides of Freemasonry, which really
perhaps with good reason. Brown has a history of prying open doors, revealing dark secrets, or at least seeming to. The central premise of his 2003 novel, The Da Vinci Code, was an earth-shaking secret that Jesus and Mary Magdalene married and had children whose descendants live among us. The book infuriated some Christians. It also sold 80 million copies worldwide, became a blockbuster film, and made Dan Brown a household name. Now, The Lost Symbol brings the same kind of high-profile scrutiny to the Freemasons, the Founding Fathers, and our nation's capital. The Da Vinci Code comes to Washington. Will it have the same impact?
There's some very potent philosophical material and an absolutely astonishing science that on some level I'm hoping will spark just as much debate.
How much debate? Consider this.
America wasn't founded a Christian country. It became a Christian country.
Or this.
The human mind really does have the ability to affect matter.
The Lost Symbol raises provocative questions about the beliefs of the man on the dollar bill, about the power of the human mind, about whether people can become gods, and a little-known science that may tie them all together.
It doesn't matter to me if someone agrees or disagrees with what I say, but I'd like them to at least think about it.
The book is a thriller, a headlong chase through some of Washington's most famous landmarks, and also through puzzles, secret codes, and dark corners of history. Starting with the secretive group at the center of the Lost Symbol, the Freemasons, a worldwide brotherhood that's centuries old and still active. George Washington was a Mason, along with 13 other presidents and numerous Supreme Court justices. Benjamin Franklin published a book about Freemasonry on his own printing press. 9 signers of the Declaration of Independence were Freemasons, including the man with the biggest signature, John Hancock. Freemasonry still has millions of members worldwide, and they still conduct rituals like this one, performed for our cameras.
If curiosity spurred you toward us, go away and do not proceed. If you are capable of deception, tremble, because you will be found out.
Freemasons have been accused of everything from murder to devil worship to secretly controlling the U.S. government. Take a dollar bill, turn it over, look at the Great Seal of the United States on the back. Now, draw a Star of David. One point will match up with the all-seeing eye, a common Masonic symbol. Now, look at the letters at the other points of the star. M-A-S-O-N. Coincidence?
Freemasons have been accused of being involved in some rather strange conspiracies. Isn't a lot of that the result of the fact that you had powerful men, in this case, meeting behind closed doors and not discussing what they were doing?
Of course. I mean, anytime you have powerful people who aren't telling you what they're doing, you're going to assume the worst.
In Brown's book, the Freemasons are infiltrated by a man who believes they hold a great secret to mystical power. He's a larger-than-life villain named Moloch, whose entire body is covered with tattoos of occult symbols.
And there's an animal quality about him. He has feather tattoos on his legs. He's got giant double-headed phoenix on his chest.
He saves 1 square inch of his flesh for something that he is coveting. What is that?
That is the lost word. The last piece of the puzzle. This word that, at least in his twisted mind, will be the coup d'etat, the cherry on top of the sundae that will be his transformation, that will give him power.
Moloch thinks the Mason's secret word will make him an all-powerful agent of evil, and he thinks that he can bring down the government with proof that some of its highest-ranking officials are Freemasons. The man who must prevent all that from happening is, of course, Harvard professor Robert Langdon, the hero of the Da Vinci Code.
Symbols are a language that can help us understand our past.
Played by Tom Hanks in the movies. Langdon must find the lost symbol before Moloch does, in order to save an old friend and possibly the world from Moloch's evil scheme. Tonight we'll hear from Dan Brown about the mysteries of Freemasonry, and from the Freemasons themselves about the secrets they've kept for centuries. We'll take a tour of Washington, D.C. unlike any you've taken before, uncovering secret places with Dan Brown as our guide. And we'll go to the fringes of science and the depths of prehistory in search of what Brown calls the true meaning of his latest book, and why, he says, it actually changed his beliefs.
I spent a lot of time researching and really had to get to the point where I realized, you know what? The world's a stranger place than we thought.
Want proof?
He drinks wine out of a skull. How much of that is fact and how much of that is fiction?
When Secrets of the Lost Symbol continues. The lost symbol starts with a gruesome discovery. Dan Brown's hero, Robert Langdon, is lured to Washington, D.C., to the U.S. Capitol, where at the center of the rotunda he finds a severed hand, tattooed to resemble an ancient mystical symbol, the Hand of the Mysteries. It beckons him on a dangerous journey.